It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Wow, I couldn't tell if you can hear that or not. There's been all kinds of issues this morning, folks. So hopefully I'm on. Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, the 29th of March. If somebody can stick in the chat room, if you guys can hear me or not hear me, I can't tell about the stream. We've had issues all morning here. But anyway, somebody stick in there if you can see me or if you can hear me, so I have some kind of idea. I am on up on deck 11 in the solarium. Cindy, thank you for saying that. Okay, I'm in the solarium lounge or around the solarium pool in the adult only area. It is deck 11. There, I was looking for a quiet place. And actually this morning when I had breakfast really early, the buffet was quiet, really quiet. Well, now at this time it's packed with people, way too noisy. And then I was starting to run out of time because I had issues with my camera. I couldn't get the camera to go online this morning. And I thought I was right at the verge of sending John the script for the show and saying, bail me out, dude. I got no camera. But finally it came on. And then when the intro didn't sound, I had no idea if it was coming through or not. So anyway, we're here. We're on the ship. This is the first day trying the ship's Wi-Fi for a live stream during the day. Some of you probably saw I did a live stream last night because I wanted to talk about the embarkation procedures that were so much better than they had been with MSC a couple weeks ago in Port Canaveral. They're not all the way I'd like to see them, but it was so much better. And the main reason for that, in case you did not see my live stream last night or the replay, they allowed the shuttle driver, to literally get the van up right to the door. I mean, I could have been 10 feet away from the entrance into the terminal. There was somebody there to check the bags, which was fine. I had my computer bag and my walker, and I said, okay, I still need a wheelchair, guys, to get through all this. And they said, oh yeah, it's right inside. I said, well, hold on, how far do I have to walk? And they said, 15 or 20 feet. It's just you go in and go through the door and make a right-hand turn, and the table's right there, really close. And the guy says, even my wife is running the table, and her name is whatever her name was. I said, okay. So I went on and walked that far, and which was within my walking range. So, and then there was a wheelchair there within just, by the time I signed in, the wheelchair was there. The other thing that they did right, and I'll tell you this, the port people, when they got me through all the garbage, the security and all that business and checking in and all that business with the Royal Caribbean people down there in the lobby. And then they get to where they start taking you toward the ship, and they have to hand you off to the Royal Caribbean personnel, the ship personnel. Kept me in the same wheelchair and handed me off to the Royal Caribbean guy. It turns out to be one of the bartenders, which is nice. But anyway, he not only pushed me up, but then it was too early to get into the staterooms, so I could get my scooter. And he stayed with me. There wasn't this dumping you off like this happened several times before. He was right there, stayed with me the entire time until the cabin was ready. He took me to the cabin. Of course, I got the scooter and went up from there. So their procedures were 100 times better than they were over at Port Canaveral. Hats off to the Galveston Port Canaveral, Galveston Port people, and the Royal Caribbean. I was surprised. I know Jack had problems when he got on a couple of weeks ago. Whatever caused that, it has been fixed, or at least partially fixed. Again, it's not 100%. I'd still like to see wheelchair to the curb so that you don't have to walk at all. But for somebody that's mobility challenged, which means that you can walk a little, like me, it was sufficient. It was not where I was stressed out. Okay. Getting back to the normal day's show. And then I thought, because there's not a whole lot of news today, I'll do a little comparison on some things that I like a lot already on this ship. Maybe a couple of things that I didn't like as much as I've had them elsewhere. But do a little comparison here this morning. Anyway, back to travel and cruise industry news for the 29th day of March. Of course, I'm on location in the Gulf of Mexico. A little bit on the choppy seas side today. The captain announced earlier that we could have 3 to 6 foot swells out here today, so that's a little on the rough side. A little breezy. We go, of course, into Cozumel tomorrow. Today, folks, is National Vietnam Memorial Veterans Day. So those of you that know folks that served in Vietnam, just give them a little love today. Give them some thanks for all that they did for us back in those days. This is different from our normal Veterans Day, simply because in our country, and still find it silly, that the Vietnam War was never officially a war. So you can't celebrate that on Memorial Day or Veterans Day, which to me is ridiculous. But not a whole lot of action in cruise ship sailing from North American ports today. Down at West Palm Beach, you've got the Margaritaville at sea. Of course, that used to be the Grand Classica. It's not official yet until I believe it's the 20th of April. But the website now is calling it Margaritaville at sea, so I'm going to switch over and start calling it that. And out in Los Angeles and Long Beach, the Carnival Miracle Sail today. That's it. Headlines for today's show, which we will get to that eventually. Cruise port for Playa del Carmen. Is that possible? Virgin Islands partners with the FCCA. Virgin Voyages reveals the Mermaid for the Resilient Lady. Coming back reports and more ships coming online this month. And a whole lot more here live at 11. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net. It's usually up within minutes of the end of the show every day. So you can always access it there or anywhere you get your podcast from, like iHeartRadio and Spotify and TuneIn and Google Podcasts and all the biggies. To search for travel and cruise industry news, and the old fat travel guy will pop up. So also, there's always a link down in the description of the podcast if you want to check out the video feed. If we're showing any pictures or clips or the like, feel free to hop over and catch the video feed. So I'll be back with today's news right after this word from one of our network sponsors. All right, back with the news. The popular Mexican destination of Playa del Carmen may be getting its own cruise port. If plans for Mexico's President Andres Manuel López Obrador, aka AMLO, work out well. AMLO is seeking to regain control of 2,000 hectares of land, that's about 4,900 acres, with the hope of developing it into a cruise port for the coastal resort town. The generous parcel of land is currently controlled by a U.S. construction company, Vulcan Minerals, which extracts crushed limestone from the region to use for road construction in the U.S. and Mexico. Vulcan Materials Company, based in Birmingham, is a world leader in producing crushed stone, sand, gravel, and slag, operating quarries throughout the United States. The Calica Quarry, operated near Playa del Carmen, is its one operation in Mexico, works as a joint venture with one of the Latin America's largest construction conglomerates. In its initial stages, part of the project involved construction of a deep water port, which required dredging more than 3 million tons of stone from the harbor of Playa del Carmen. This makes the location perfect for a cruise port that would be able to service even the largest vessels in today's cruise market. In fact, cruise ships, including Carnival Cruise Line's Fantasy class vessels, had previously used the Calica facility as a port of call. AMLO has already met with executive from Vulcan Materials Company to discuss options, keeping the area's natural beauty in mind for responsible development. So someday soon, we might see a cruise port in Playa del Carmen. The U.S. Virgin Islands has struck a deal with Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, that's the FCCA, to develop the region further and impact cruise tourism has had in the area. Together, Virgin Islands and the FCCA will work on a series of initiatives that should increase the overall economic impact for visiting cruise ship have on the local economy. Included in the initiatives are increased cruise calls for 2022, the development of new experiences and products, enticing more guests to come back after the cruise as stay-over guests, and more. While the U.S. Virgin Islands have long been a standard port of call for many cruises, new developments will be needed to keep the ships and the guests coming back. Over the last 2 years, the local economy in the U.S. Virgin Islands has taken a significant hit, as most everything in the tourism industry has. The island have always been heavily resilient on cruise tourism, with as many as 3, 4, and even sometimes 5 ships visiting each day pre-pandemic. In 2017 and 18, the cruise industry generated $184.7 million in total cruise tourism expenditures and $77.9 million in total employee wage income. While the Virgin Islands have seen a steady return in the stay-over guests to the beautiful beaches, the cruise industry still lags behind. Celebrating diversity and strength of women, Virgin Voyages has revealed the Mermaid design for the hull of its forthcoming Resilient Lady, set to debut on her Mermaid voyage this August. The new design is a stunning Latina mermaid with a fiery red tail, designed and painted by prominent oil painter and muralist Jody Herrera. And let's see, I think probably when I started having difficulties, I did not get the picture loaded. So let me see if I can get that real quick while we're talking about it. Sorry about the dullness here, the slowness while I'm trying to pick this up and see if it did load, and that will give you an idea. All right, it's trying to upload now. And again, that's one of the problems with the Wi-Fi stream here. It takes so long to do everything. Now let's see there. See if that shows. There it is. All right, now you can see the little Mermaid down there in the lower right-hand corner. That's the new Mermaid. I was not aware that the Mermaids were totally different for each ship. I had not looked at it that closely, but this is the Spanish Mermaid on the Resilient Lady. Jody Herrera is the artist behind the vibrant Mermaid, an accomplished artist who's exhibited abroad. Herrera's work is also featured across the U.S. And they say that the proud mermaid stance with her fist upraised is inspired by powerful women akin to Rosie the Riveter. How about that one? Not something that I've ever said on one of my shows before, folks. I've never talked about Rosie the Riveter. Okay, a little humor this morning. Always warranted. Okay, that got rid of the picture. Big week for Norwegian Cruise Line's restart as two ships are set to return. The Norwegian Jewel and the Norwegian Jade. Resuming service after a 2-year pause, the Norwegian Jewel is welcoming back guests in Panama on March 29th. The highlight of the cruise is to visit I stumbled on this all morning. Acahuta, which is an uncommon port in El Salvador. So that's one that some of you may not have been on before or been to before. Is Acuta in El Salvador. So the other one is Norwegian Jade, which is going to be sailing in Europe starting on March the 30th. And it will be doing Eastern Mediterranean cruises from Civitavecchia and Piraeus in Greece. Also, starting in the next 30 days from MSC, the MSC Harmonia gets back in action on April the 10th from Venice. MSC Lyrica on April the 11th from Piraeus. MSC Opera on April the 24th from Genoa. And the MSC Poesia on April the 30th from Civitavecchia. So there's 6 more ships that will be online this month. We're getting closer and closer to the day when we're going to all be back to sailing full capacity. And then they can work on raising the passenger limits back up. I did not get the final official tally on this cruise, but I think it's somewhere around 2,200. I heard. Have not gotten official numbers yet. So that's what, 40% or so, maybe. But anyway, I'll try to get those numbers later on today. All right, a couple things just to compare, just for funsies more than anything. I had dinner last night, of course, in the main dining room. The one of the things I did not like, they had me assigned at a table with 10 people. It's this big long table, and it's way over in the corner, which is hard as crap for me to get to on my scooter. And I was sitting there with nobody, and then finally 2 ladies came in that were assigned to that table. Well, they saw a big fat guy sitting down at the other end, so they went down to the far end of the table. Not because I had green things coming out of my ears or anything, or did anything weird. At least I don't think I did. But anyway, they figured maybe I was waiting for other people. So as we started chatting, come to find out that we, I think, rather enjoyed each other's company from dinner, even though we were shouting across a 10-foot table. It's 10 foot, that's probably a 20-foot table. I mean, it's a huge table. So we met up later on in the evening, and because after I left, one of the dining room directors came over and asked the ladies how they fared, and they said, well, we're definitely going to sit closer to Chillie tomorrow night. So when they told me that, I said, well, why don't we see if they have an open foretop and we'll move and just get it a normal table instead of that huge thing, since it's a very difficult area for me to get to and in and out of. If you guys wouldn't mind eating with me, I would certainly love to continue eating with you guys. And they were very pleased with that part. So we're going to check on that today to see what happens. I had prime rib, and of course, I'm always going to have a shrimp cocktail, at least almost every meal on a cruise. One thing I didn't like, as opposed to what I had on Mermaid on the last cruise, the shrimp cocktail on Mermaid had 6 huge shrimp, and the shrimp cocktail in the main dining room on Adventure of the Seas had 3 moderately large, not huge, but better than medium size, but still more of a normal shrimp. The ones on Mermaid were just immense. They were, maybe a 3 white shrimp, if you can imagine. So the shrimp cocktail is not as much. However, cocktail sauce was better. I mean, it was really good. Had quite a kick, which I liked. I also had prime rib. It was very good. I ordered it medium rare. It was medium rare. I had key lime pie. It had some veggies with it. So it's a good meal. Of course, I didn't have any complaints with Mermaid's food either. This morning on the buffet, I found a couple things that I really liked a lot. One, they had, instead of just scrambled eggs, they had scrambled eggs with mushroom and onion mixed in it, which I call them garbage eggs. And they were nice and soft. I like scrambled eggs nice and soft, not overcooked. They were done perfectly. They also have hash browns instead of the quartered potatoes, chunk potatoes, whatever you want to call those potatoes. They had actual hash browns, which I like that too as well. They also have a regular omelet station here that Mermaid didn't have. I did not go all the way around to see that this morning. So tomorrow I'll probably get an omelet to see how that goes. But all in all, the buffet I would rate as probably I'd rate it a little bit better than the Mermaid was on the last one. And going back to Freedom of the Seas, it's probably about the same as Freedom, which I've been told that the ships are very much alike. A little bit better than Mermaid was, but not bad enough to say, I like this cruise because it's much better. So far, I'm very happy with both. Obviously, I'm very happy with the way embarkation went on Adventure yesterday. I did not go to the show last night. I did not go up on deck I was tired, just flat out tired. When I got everything done, I did get out yesterday and do some of my filming. Quite a bit of filming actually for our first day on a cruise. So because I'm actually looking for specific things now on my accessibility things. And overall, I have no complaints on the ship other than the same one on pools and hot tubs. They're just not anywhere near as good. They're not accessible as they should be. And that's going to have to go back to the design thing. All right, let's go over and see who's in the chat room this morning. If anybody's fussing at me today. Sonny's here from Mississippi. Cindy's here. Nikki's here. Nanook of the North, John, he says, I can hear you. Yes, thank you. Hot Air Tom is with us. I guess I was on the wrong notification. Yeah, what happened after I started, I was just getting ready to get the show started when I had this camera issue. It ended up having one of the things that it said to try was to go out of, turn the computer off, reboot the computer, reboot the stream, reboot Google Chrome. I went through all of that crap, but in the meantime, I killed the show. So that was probably my stupidity too. So I had to reset up the show, send the links out again. I need to come up with a way of sending you guys direct links, like Messenger, everybody at once. I hate group things, but still, that's a way I could drop the link in and zap it to you so I know you guys have it, especially on an issue like that, where it would save me time where I could do it once and, not a billion times. Chillie's about in the center of the Gulf of Mexico. It's cruising southeast at 18 knots, 1.8 meter seas. Yep. I'm sitting here looking out the window at them. We've slowed down a little bit. We were over 19 knots earlier, and that's because it's getting a little bit rougher. They could get up to 2 meters or a little higher before the day's over with. Glad to hear Royal did better on embarkation. Yeah, me too, Cindy. Did you think the improvements in the embarkation process was due to the port or the cruise line? My guess is it was the port. And that's purely a guess. Both seem to be a little improved. But with not getting any grief from the direction folks outside directing traffic, that's the first place you have some grief when they force you to get away from that door. The driver just said, my passenger needs a wheelchair, and how close can I get? And they just directed her right up literally to the door. So I have a feeling that is cruise line. I mean, that's a port people totally. Then when my guy Richmond was with me all the way, that's probably cruise line. So, I mean, I've dealt back and forth with the director of special needs several times, and one of the quivers I have in my arrow basket now is if I run into some group, one of the things I'm going to drop on them is if you were refusing wheelchair service to a disabled guest with oxygen, could I have you call the director of special needs for the line and explain to him why you're doing it? I have his number here on speed dial. That tends to shake him up a little bit. But I didn't have to do that. So Jason's with us in Pittsburgh. Hi, Jason. Lady in the background tucked down, did she? Interesting. Carol's with us. She says, good morning. NCL escape. I was going to mention that this morning when I was doing the NCL thing. They did cancel another week cruise. That's the April 2nd cruise was now canceled. Yeah, that's getting closer and closer to Hot Air Tom. We need Katie to drive down to the port and check the repair progress. Yeah, Katie, just go jump in the water, put on your swim fins, and go down to the azipods and see if they're getting the repairs done so Hot Air and Cindy can go on their cruise. I can see that happening, Hot Air Tom. Sonny says, wow, Rosie the Riveter. I couldn't believe it. That was in the story this morning. Rosie the Riveter. I promise you, folks, none of my competitors, Don, Tony, none of those guys will have Rosie the Riveter on their shows today. Independence of the Seas, they had an omelet station on the buffet with a pager to let you know when it's ready. Oh, wow, that's cool. Yeah, the Divina, they gave you numbers. And I mean, since I was, there always early, as soon as he was ready to go, he'd just holler number one, and my omelet would be ready because he knew what I wanted. And they had, the Divina had the best salsa I've ever had on an omelet. I like salsa on omelets. So that's one thing I'll find out tomorrow. Another comparison, silly comparisons. But, to see if they have salsa to go on the omelet tomorrow morning. It'll be an interesting thing. There's Katie. All right, Katie, you heard what Hot Air wants you to do. Go jump in the water at Port Canaveral and see how the Ezopod repair job is going so he can sail on that big old Norwegian ship. I mean, you can hold your breath that long, can't you? Emily could sup and paddle around the ship. Yeah, but around it, that doesn't necessarily tell you how the repairs are going. Those repairs are down under. So, sorry about that. My throat's going. I don't have a drink this morning because I ran out of time. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today, guys. So, as always, thank you for being with me. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. That is now 10 o'clock on ship's time because I'm on different time here. But I'll be back tomorrow for the same time, same place. As always, have a great day. I'll see everybody tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.